This lesson on academic writing skills is using graphic tools to present data. We will begin with the introduction, then we move on to common graphic tools. Finally, we will have some practice and quiz to check our learning. So, let's start from the introduction. We will learn three things: why graphic tools are used to present data, the types of the graphic tools, and the comparison or the difference between the graphic tools. We use tools mainly for two purposes: to make comparison more clearly seen, and to point out the key trend or points. For the types of graphic tools, there are two types: tables and figures. For figures, four categories are included: the graphs, the charts, the diagrams, and the illustrations or images. So, how are tables and figures different? Tables show details, while figures illustrate the key trend or contrasts more dramatically. For readers, it's easier to pick out the trend from the tables and the figures than from the text. Let's compare these examples to describe the hours spent on previewing from week 9 to week 14 for student A, B, and C in an EAP course. Which of the following is easier to read: the text, table, or graph? As can be seen here, Table 1 gives the most details for the hours spent each week for 3 students, while the graph shows the trend or changes more dramatically. When we look at the figure, we know that all students spend the least time previewing in week 10 immediately. Next, we will learn more about the most common graphic tools, tables and figures. For figures, we will focus on the line graphs, the bar charts, and the pie charts. Tables are used to present comparative information about similar items. As can be seen, Table 1 compares the hours spent on previewing for 3 students. Now, let's look at figures. We can use line graphs to compare changes through a time period. For example, Figure 2 compares different hours spent on previewing for 3 students from week 9 to week 14. Next, the bar charts are used to show the same item. As shown in Figure 2, the 3 students spent different hours on writing homework, previewing, and preparing for the quiz. Finally, the pie charts are used to show percentages. As shown in Figure 3, different percentages of all students spent different hours on previewing per week. At least 4 hours are spent for most of the students. We've learned the graphic tools used to show data. Let's practice now. Now let's move on to practice. Please match the descriptions with the appropriate figures: line graph, bar chart, and pie chart. Get the answer? Let's look at the keywords in each description. For description 1, by saying the most of the students and the 90 percentages given, it shows percentages as a whole. For description 2, a gradual increase and from week 11 to week 14 shows there is a trend or change in a set period. For description 3, student C and the most time writing homework shows there might be comparison between students and different activities. Let's move on to the quiz now to check how much we have learned. Please put down true or false for each statement. Okay, so tables and figures have made it easier for readers to compare the data or identify the trend or changes more easily than text. Pie charts provide proportions of data as a whole. Okay, So let's quickly review what we have learned. We have learned the four most common graphic tools: tables, line graphs, bar charts, and pie charts. For tables, we can use them to show details and compare information about similar items. And by using line graphs, we can compare changes, especially through a time period. Then, bar charts can be used to show the same item. Finally, we can use pie charts to show percentages of a whole. So, when choosing the graphic tools to present data, we have to think whether we'd like to show comparison or trend and changes. Tables give details, while figures illustrate the key trend or contrast. Thank you for joining the lesson. The lesson is funded by the Ministry of Education.